All right. Yes. It's your boy Joe Castro. We back. I'm here with my brothers from Anothers. Y'all know how it gets down. We got my guy James. We got my guy George. And I just want to say before I'm sorry that we're late. You know what I'm saying? We'll all take a little bit of the brunt. It's been a while. You know what I'm saying? We had to get back into. We were going to be a little bit earlier, but James came in hot. James came in hot, and he is ready to talk. He is ready to talk about this game. All right, so as y'all know, you know what I'm saying, we are going to talk a little bit about the Senior Bowl and stuff like that today, but it's been a while. So how y'all boys doing, man? I missed y'all. Man.
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me again, Joe. It's good to see you all again. I know James is itching. You know, he's chopping at the bit.
I'm not itching. Y'all not sweet. So I mean, it's not like y'all been winning for the last 5 years. You've been losing, so you should be more happy than me.
To be here. I'm happy to talk ball. I love all the people in the chat. Chris Bryant, what's up, my boy right there? How you doing, Chris? So what's up, everybody?
In the chat.
James, you up, brother? I think Joe's frozen for a second.
Say again.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, there you go. Joe's back. You know, I'm happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my Cowboys. I ain't never hyped them, but I will say we won the last 3 of the 4, and you know the streak kind of started after smacking up them Commanders at their crib. That kind of got the juices going. You know, Michael Parsons comes back. You feel me? Put a lot of pressure on that guy. You know, I felt kind of good because you know we can't stand the Commanders. I said it myself. That's my most hated team. So I said, I appreciate the Cowboys saying F that record and going there and smacking you boys because we smacked y'all.
Get out of here with that. Look at James. So anyways, Chris Bryant, yeah, I agree that James is hurt right now. I think his emotions out right now on the chat. So it's all good. I mean, I'm going to be polite during this conversation. I got you. It's all good. It's all good.
I do want to say, though, that the Eagles do play the Commanders this week. So we will take y'all out of y'all misery again. But let me ask you a question. All jokes aside, all hate aside, because I'm in a good mood. I mean, obviously, why not, right?
Let's do it.
How are you feeling about the Commanders? Because objectively, like taking away being a fan, taking away being a hater, objectively, you guys have slowed down a little bit. You aren't what you were in the beginning of the season. Does that worry you? What are your thoughts on that? Like, where are you guys as of right now? Because I feel like it was a different conversation when we first played.
I think you guys are projecting your emotions onto me right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling pretty damn good. We're playing with house money. There's nothing wrong with the way the team is going right now. 9-5, 9 wins. Our first winning record since 2016. We're looking pretty solid. We were 7-2 to start the year. There was talk of us being one of the best teams in the league, which is like it was a mirage at the time. 7-2 was like we were winning at the time. Our losses, you know, we all talk in our group chat. James was hitting me up like, oh, you know, y'all got some trash losses, or you guys can't be good teams. We lost to the Ravens, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Buccaneers, 4 legit playoff teams, and the only trash team that we lost to was the Dallas Cowboys. That's the only trash team that we lost to, and that's where the momentum's coming from right now. You know what I'm saying? So
okay. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at that though, because you know we talked about that with the Miami Dolphins. Remember the Miami Dolphins of last year? How David Tua, that they were the team, but you know what? Whenever time we looked at their record, they were beating losing teams. They were beating under 500 teams, and whenever they played a real team last year, they were 0 and everything. Much like even Dallas last year, we were losing to the good teams. We know we could beat the under 500, the teams that are borderline. We know that. So all I'm saying is you got 5 losses, 4 of them against over 500 teams and playoff teams. You lost every one of them. And yes, you may have lost to a trash team, but it's still a rivalry. We still win in your house and we still tap that ass.
Absolutely. I'm going to pull – go ahead. Joe, keep talking. I'm going to pull up the Cowboys schedule. They get that marquee – their marquee wins are against the Commanders, and they're hyped about that right now.
I'm not hyped about that. We beat the Steelers. If anything, I would hype up the Steelers more than y'all. I would take the Steelers, but even then – but I ain't even going to hype up that Steelers because they had Justin Fields, so I'd rather have us Russell Wilson. So I'm not being blind to it. All I'm saying is, well, we talked about at the beginning of the year, and Joe can attest to this. I said, you said it yourself. Y'all playing with house money. I said, this is a free year for y'all. I said, y'all were going to win about 8 to 9 games. This was a free year for y'all because everything's new. So it don't matter this year. If y'all were bad this year, it wouldn't matter. If y'all were good this year. And I said, y'all were surprise teams because y'all ain't got nothing to lose this year. But see, next year is when that pressure's gonna come. Next year is gonna be expectations, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We're gonna stay on it this year. So hey, y'all winning, but y'all ain't beat nobody good. And when y'all come to them playoffs, I don't see you winning in the first round.
Let me jump in real quick. I love the energy they're coming in. 6 minutes off the break. We're already coming in hot. I love it. So the win, the Cowboys wins, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, Justin Fields, Pittsburgh Steelers, Commanders, your best win of the year, New York Giants, and then they have Carolina Panthers. Come on, bro. Those are your wins for the year.
We're not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying though, I'm not sitting there saying my team is good. I'm not hyping up any of our wins. I'm not hyping up none of our wins. If anything, I'm not hyping anything. But you are the one that said you're feeling good about this year. Look at us. No, y'all coming back down to earth. Y'all coming back down to earth. And as I told you before, Dan Quinn is fool's gold for you, and you gonna see. He always starts out hot, but he fades. Look at his record in 2015. In Atlanta, he was when he missed playoffs. 2016, the epic choke. Look at his record when he started his first 3 years to his last 3 years. They went from I think it was like 8-8 to like 11-5 to 10-6, then 7-9, 7-9, 0-5, fired. It's gonna happen again. You just watch.
To be fair, George, they said the same thing about Kellen Moore. And in Philly, we having pretty darn good results with Kellen Moore. And I'm hearing a lot of people
Kellen Moore has never been a head coach. No. I first of all, I ain't never said that about Kellen Moore. All I said was watch out. All I said was watch out for him because he gets goofy. I ain't never say he was a bad coordinator. And number two, Kellen Moore has never been a head coach. So that's a whole different conversation.
We've been talking since going back to August, right? And you asked me at the beginning of the year, preseason talk, what is the outcome of the year? What do you want to happen in DC? I wanted to see if Jayden Daniels was legit. He's a legit quarterback. We have a franchise quarterback to build around. I'm playing with house money right now. We haven't had a first round pick that's still on our roster for the last 6 years. We just got rid of Emmanuel Forbes, right? We basically got all of them gone. We have a top heavy, we have Jayden Daniels that kind of covers all the warts on our team, but we're not deep, right? We are still building, which I'll be happy with. If we can get to 10, 11 wins on a rebuild year and then basically get a first round wide receiver or a T. Higgins wide receiver to match up with Terry McLaurin, I'm pretty happy with that. Going into that, though, and it's going full circle, we're playing the Eagles this week. Respect to the Eagles. I was talking to Joe. 10 wins in a row. They've been looking really good. I always thought you were talented on offense. Your defense is overachieved. You guys' defense is better than I thought your defense was going to be. Am I scared going into the week? Absolutely not. I don't get scared about nothing. Let's go, man. I'm ready to go. We were up in the fourth quarter of that game with y'all, and we were talking going back and forth in our DM chat. We were looking pretty good. If we get that 4th and 2, we get the ball, we score another touchdown. It could be a different game.
It could have been.
The stats look in you guys, we were bending a lot. Saquon Barkley broke open the levee and took the game over, but the game was pretty damn close. I'm not scared of playing at home. Let's get it. I'm ready to go. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I'll give you this. This is all I'm really going to give you. I'll give you that the Commanders are all projection this year. None of this, I won't say it doesn't matter because if you make the playoffs, it matters. And no matter how much you say it's a rebuild, whatever, like the Vikings aren't going to say it's a rebuild if they make the championship game. They're going to go out there and play. So it is a rebuild, and it might not matter in the grand scheme of things if you guys are a first round exit or if you guys whatever. But my biggest thing is that you guys. That was really like the only good thing I can say. You guys are projection. So this is like really not that big of a deal to you. But right now, you're not really. How do I even put this nicely? I can't put this.
Let it rip, dude. Let it rip.
You guys aren't as good as the Eagles. You guys aren't even really on the same spectrum. When you guys played us that last time, we gave you guys a lot of opportunities. You guys did a lot of things that were decent. Don't get me wrong. You guys had some decent drives. You guys, Jayden Daniels is a decent player, but you don't have the playmakers that we have. And defensively, we're eons above where you are defensively. And when you put the matchup offense versus defense, right? You put Jayden Daniels versus our defense. Yeah. Russ Wilson couldn't figure out our defense. Yeah. I have no fear that Jayden Daniels is going to figure out our defense. The only thing that Jayden Daniels can do that can kind of scare me not even scare me, but maybe give the Eagles a challenge is get out of the pocket. If he can get outside of the pocket, if he can make things happen with his legs, hey, good for him. But I don't even see that happening. I really just feel like the Eagles are way above
That's undeniable, right? We talked about in regards to where we are on the growth plan. The Philadelphia, you guys are walking into the year as a potential Super Bowl contender, right? However, you guys ended the year on a slide last year, so it's kind of like, can the Eagles put it together again? You guys start off slow, you guys got hot right now. The Eagles have more talent, that's a fact, right? What I'm saying is that as I think I'm seeing Dank Bird 56 or whatever, 52, whatever he's saying right here, he was saying with Thursday game coming off the Steelers, Jayden Daniels with a broken rib playing y'all. Basically, we didn't even open up the playbook against y'all. He's healthy now. We have Marshawn Lattimore now, and Jonathan Allen might be coming back this week too, believe it or not. So considering all of that, I think it's going to be pretty competitive, and it's at home, so we'll see what happens. Should you guys beat us? You guys are favored, right? You guys are the favorite.
Oh, we're gonna beat that, yeah.
But I'm not scared. I'm not scared. And that's kind of someone's like recognize us. Why is there a why are you guys like having like sympathy for yourselves? You guys are the contenders. You guys are supposed to be.
Because people do not want to give us our flowers. That's my biggest thing with the Eagles. Is that people just do not want to give us our flowers.
Okay.
Our offense, at times, I guess people can say that it's looked, our passing offense, I guess at times you can say has looked stale. But if you don't need it, sometimes you just don't use it. And last week, I feel like, or this past Sunday, I should say, we flexed that muscle, right? Sometimes if you don't use a muscle, you feel like you maybe lose it. We ain't lost it, all right? Jalen Hurts, and people will always say, oh, he can't go out there and just, take the team on his back and throw for this, how many yards. He's done it. He's did it all last year. We didn't win games like that. Right now, he's making the plays that need to be made. Like, at the end of the day, this Eagles team is just not the same. There's not many different players from last year. There's some key players. Don't get me wrong, Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, there's Mekhi Becton. There's some key players. But this team isn't all that different from last year. It's a mentality shift. What we did to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that sometimes I think is why our numbers don't look as good as maybe the game looked. Because you go on a 21-play drive to end the game off against the defense that everybody told me I couldn't run on. Everybody told me I couldn't run on. We literally just soaked the clock out and just walked the ball down the field for 10 minutes. We're going to be able to do that to any team we want. So we might not go out there and blow you out, and you might think, oh, we were close. It was close. We just playing our game. Like Saquon's going to go out there and probably have like 250 on y'all. I really think Saquon going to have a day on y'all.
Nah. I think so. Going back to you, just kind of talking ball talk, not even talking shit right now, right? Just talking ball. Saquon Barkley has been a great player for you guys. He controls the game. You guys have you guys have a well-rounded offense. You have a big wide receiver. You guys have a route runner with Devontae Smith. You have, you have a great running back with Saquon Barkley. I give Jalen Hurts flowers in the fact that he can extend plays, right? I don't think he's a pure throw the ball for 300 yards kind of quarterback, but he's the kind of guy where it's like 3rd and 6, and he doesn't see anything open, he'll scramble for a first down and keep the drives going on. That's what he does very well. Jayden Daniels does that as well, does that also very well, right? So basically, that extends drives, that extends games. That's how you win the game. So my whole thing is, if Washington wants to win the game on Sunday, they just have to outcoach him this week. That's why I think you guys are more talented. It's going to be, can Cliff Kingsbury dial some shit up? Joe Witt dial some things up? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm cussing too much. Can they dial some things? Yeah.
He got them all shook up.
Shut up, dude. And basically just trying to get it all started. We'll see what happens Sunday. Any given Sunday. We saw the Browns beat the Steelers. We'll see what happens with the Eagle Commanders team. We'll see what happens.
Another big thing that I think about this game is coming into this week. I'm going to be real with you. I was looking for reasons to hype myself up for this game because right now it's possible that the Lions lose a couple games just because of how diminished their defense is. But the Vikings don't really look like they're going to lose 2 games. And it's just like a muck for that number 1 seed. But the thing that got me up for this game is that if we beat you guys, at the very least, we got the NFC East, obviously, and we have the number 2 seed. Yeah. So this game might be our last, go all out. You know what I'm saying? So, this game means something to the Eagles is what I'm trying to say. So, before kind of looking at the numbers and looking at, the scenarios, it might have been one of those any given Sunday type of things. But I think that the Eagles understand exactly what's in front of them. You can't lose to the Washington Commanders, right? You just can't lose right now to this team. And you look at, this is our last home game, our last, away game. Then we're home for the rest of it. This might be our last, just push it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me your last.
It's going to be a good game. I see what you're trying to say, but it's a playoffs for us. It's a playoffs for us right now.
Yeah.
If we beat y'all, and I'll be real with you. I don't think we're winning the division by any means, right? But if we beat y'all, it makes it so much easier for us to make the playoffs. Like, for real, we could lose this game and it's not the end of the world for us. The game of the week, the game of the year for us is the Falcons game next week. They got flex to Sunday Night Football. If one of the NFC West teams lose this week and we beat the Falcons next week, we clinch the playoffs. That's how it works. Like, that's the most important game because the race is Seahawks, Rams, Falcons, and us for this last spot. But the Seahawks and the Rams play each other in the last week of the year, so they're going to knock each other out anyway. The thing is, and we also have the tiebreakers. So that next week, that Falcons game is the one. Yeah, I think we're going to be we're like an 87% chance to get the playoffs. But if we beat y'all, I think that's the momentum. I think if we beat y'all, we might run the table. I think we might Falcons and then Cowboys. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, you meant the regular season. I thought you
were not going to beat us. Y'all getting swept.
Unrealistic.
Y'all getting swept. Y'all getting swept. We sweeping y'all. I don't care about our season. We sweeping y'all. And let me tell you something. George. No. See, you talking all kind. If I hope them Atlanta Falcons, because Philadelphia gonna beat y'all. I hope them Atlanta Falcons and Mike Pence up there, Pennick, come out there on more incredible, never happened stuff and go ahead and beat y'all, and then y'all got to come to Dallas with a must-win game on the last game of the year. Y'all gonna lose.
I'm getting too old for that kind of stress, but I don't need it in my life. I don't want Kirk Cousins.
Let me tell you something. If that happens, that's just going to prove what I said about Dan Quinn, how they faltered, started off fast, and then they burned slow. So let's just see if that happens, because if it does, we'll be back here to talk about that Dan Quinn thing again.
If we listen to we go with 0-3 to end the year, I don't even know. I don't even know how to act. I probably want to have my camera on. I'll put some dark music on in the background. I'll be upset. I'll be dead, dude. I'll be devastated. It's not going to happen, though. It's all good.
But this season don't matter. Y'all playing with house money, George.
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
From 7 to 8 not be a bad look. But I'll take the 9 wins. The thing is, I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to put up a good fight against y'all. I think we're going to beat the Falcons. I think we're going to beat the Cowboys. I think we're going to end the year with.
They're going to beat us.
I think we're. Why are you all so confident right now? I'm just kind of curious about that. Why?
Because it's a rivalry game. Because it's a rivalry game. Because y'all are, I told y'all, when I looked at your team and I said it, George, I said, hey, your offense was playing above its mind and the defense was covering for that defense. But now that offense has come down to earth to be exposed. I said y'all was about a year away, at least for that defense, and those things are going to be exposed. So I can go in there with confidence because we put 34 points on y'all with Cooper Rush in your house. So that's why I'm confident.
I do want to know. I mean, y'all can keep going back and forth. I know that this rivalry is beautiful. I ain't gonna lie. It feels good. All the rivalries. The NFC East is the best of it.
NFC East is the best division in football. I say that all the freaking time. We're the marquee division, especially when we're all good. New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Dallas. Come on, man. Doesn't get much better than that. It's awesome. I love it.
I do want to know about the Cowboys, though. I do. I feel like y'all best option was to start maybe losing some games, and it looks like y'all refusing to do that. Well, how do you feel about? I mean, we know everything about Jerry. We know Steven. We know everything up top. But like, what? Just what? Like, what do the Cowboys do? Because I've seen quarterback. I've seen get a wide receiver, get a running back.
They're not doing a quarterback. They're not doing quarterback, and I'm going to just go ahead and kill that. There ain't going to be no quarterback. You just signed Dak Prescott. He's the highest in the league, so we ain't even talking about no quarterback thing. What we need right now is we need an explosive receiver. Now, it's already been in the air. I don't know how real it could be. But Garrett Wilson is really unhappy over there in the Jets. And I know he's got one more year on his deal, I believe, but he's very young, Ohio State guy. That CeeDee Lamb needs a number 2. We talked about it ourselves. And even George said, hey, Terry McLaurin, if he can get him another dog with him, our offense will be even better. You already see it with your team, George, with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You damn near got to have 2 number 1s in this league now. You get what I'm saying? And we've already talked about the last 2 to 3 years with CeeDee Lamb. He's been doing everything, and yes, he's been banged up all year, and he still got another 1,000-yard season. You get what I'm saying? With Cooper Rush being your quarterback half the year. Imagine if you had another dog, because Jalen Tolbert ain't it, Jalen Brooks ain't it. I love Kevontae Turpin, but I don't see him being your strong number two. He's going to be your guy that can really take the top off. But we need another dog in this draft. So that's where I would say if we're looking at the team as a whole, we know what it is. I don't think they're going to do anything in free agency again. We'll see. We already heard about Micah saying he giving discounts. I don't believe that either. You're Micah Parsons. I don't believe that's going to happen. But right now, George, when we talked about with George and Joe, when we talked about with the draft, we need a dog receiver with CD. We need a running back, obviously, and we need to get another edge. But I would say those three things are really kind of prevalent right now. And then when we go on to coaching, Mike McCarthy, they already said that Jerry said him and Zimmer are tied to the hip, right? So they've been still playing hard. Dallas has won 3 out of the last 4. Mike Vrabel is hanging over the Reg because he's a Belichickian guy. But if the Cowboys play good these next 3 games, because this is the real barometer. You got the Bucs who are a playoff type team, Washington Commanders who are a playoff type team, and you guys are a playoff team. So if Dallas plays good in all 3 of those games and maybe wins a couple, man, Mike McCarthy probably going to come back, and so is Zimmer.
I wanted to read this guy. Maybe you guys can make more sense of this because you guys are a little bit more with this. Linda said, ask BGJ why Stephen Jones keeps talking about money when all teams have to spend 89% of their cap and pay back the rest to other players if they don't. I don't understand the statement. Is that true? I didn't know that they had to do that. Is that true?
They get penalized for not spending a certain amount of their salary cap. The Bengals got in trouble for a lot of years. The Bengals are so cheap. The Bengals would not necessarily pay their salary cap, so they had to pay bigger contracts. And I think Linda's right. I think it kind of goes back to the it gets dispersed if they don't use it all the way. But go ahead, Joe. Jay, you might know more than me.
Well, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head right there. But the first thing that I noticed that you said the Cincinnati Bengals. Once again, who's the Cincinnati Bengals? Jerry Jones and Mike Brown are the only owner, president, and GM of the team. That should tell you right there. Cheap, cheap, cheap. All of them are cheap in that. Those 2 are cheap in that aspect. So this is the funny thing, and I'm going to just say this once, and I'm going to say it again. You don't have a threat of being fired. Harry Roseman, as good as he is, if he had 2, 3 or bad years, he's gone. No matter how good of a GM you were, if you were in Commanders killing it, you have a couple, 2, 3 years, you're gone. Dallas don't have that threat. Jerry ain't getting fired. Stephen Jones ain't getting fired. Will McClay ain't getting fired. So with y'all having all that, I don't know why year in and year out you don't go crazy or go ham, because nobody's going to fire you if you make a mistake. If you drop the ball, nobody's going to come and say, oh, you're fired for that. You guys can do whatever you want. So you guys could be one of the strongest, most nastiest guys in free agency, draft, all that, because y'all have the power, but you don't. And so that's why I just don't respect the Jones at all, because y'all have the power to do it and you don't, because you're always talking about cap. I don't respect that. And that's what's holding the team back.
Y'all saw that news story about, what was it, the Jets owner that didn't want to get
the Madden ratings? Yeah.
Didn't want to get Jerry Jeudy because of his Madden rating. Oh my God. I guess we could all be GMs at the end of the day. Right?
There's some crazy GMs out in the league. And James, you're exactly right. We felt it in DC for years. And with Dan Snyder, you need a legit GM to basically put your team together. Howie Roseman, he had a great draft this year. He's good with trades. I feel like that's one of his strengths, in my opinion. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. I don't know. It's funny. I feel like the Cowboys kind of had a good reputation for having strong drafts for years and years. James, do you still feel that way?
I've already busted that out. I've done videos, numerous videos, starting about a month and a half ago. Not saying the Dallas Cowboys drafts are bad, but they keep hyping. It's like they have the greatest drafts. I would say we have about a C plus draft. Year in and year out, I went through our draft, and we're top heavy. Our first couple of rounds were good. But those middle rounds, you're not keeping your players. It's always we want to develop, we want to draft, we want to develop and sign our own. But y'all draft, develop, and then they go somewhere else and play. That's the problem, because you're cheap and don't want to spend. Take for instance, let me see you, Ogadazua. He's a dog playing a defensive tackle, and we need him, right? But he's going to cost some money because he's playing out of his mind and he's on his contract year. There are going to be some teams out there that are going to want him, and is Dallas going to have Or are they going to be like, oh, we'll just take a compensatory pick and we'll just let him walk? And then Osa goes into a great situation, ends up being maybe a missing piece, and then he goes to a playoff Super Bowl. That's the way it happens. So you have to be better at signing your own, but also these drafts that Dallas have been having, they haven't been the greatest, and a lot of these haven't panned out. And Dallas is using a lot of undrafted free agents. I just feel like that's not a great recipe. It's great to find those hidden gems, but at the end of the day, when you get into these playoffs and you're playing against these playoff type teams, you can't have a whole bunch of undrafted free agents on there because those warts will show when you're going against them dogs. They don't show when you're playing the 500 teams. Like when you go in there and beat the Carolina Panthers, those warts don't show. And this is what I said also, George and Joe. I want a barometer when we play the Philadelphia Eagles. We're talking about, our offensive line is doing good.
Oh, that's that Cowboys internet right there.
Cowboys internet's been all.
Well, I want to say let's play a legit defensive line. Guys are going to be guys for the future. When Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and those guys. So there it is.
Oh, damn. You're barking at us, man. God damn. Okay.
I love you, Jay. Ask me about our drafts. The Eagles been killing their drafts the past like 3 or 4 years. We've been absolutely killing them. So I know nobody asked, but I feel good about our drafts. So, all right. As I said before earlier in the show, we do want to start kind of gearing towards Senior Bowl because we do have Senior Bowl coming. Even his connection.
I love it.
But we are going to be getting to Senior Bowl soon. So we are going to start switching gears towards that. So we'll probably maybe half and half of the show. We'll figure it out as we go. But we're going to all pick a player basically from the Senior Bowl list. Obviously, they're starting to put their invitees out. So we kind of have an idea of who's going to be showing up. We're all going to pick a player. I guess since me and you have the best connection, we'll try and one of us will get ours in first. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? How do you feel? How are you feeling right now?
I can start off right now. You can, add on more to it if you want. I mean, you can kind of go back and forth with it. So I was going to throw a jab at James, but I'll wait till he gets back. I was going to say, I'll be honest with you, Joe. I haven't really been diving into the mock drafts and the free agent class that much because, I'm not in mock draft mode. I'm not in the Cowboys mock. We're winning. It's not really on my mind right now. I'm kind of feeling it around, but I'll put it together. I got some stats over here. So Washington's needs, man. They're going to need another cornerback. They're going to need another wide receiver, tight end, maybe another running back to kind of balance out the team. The person that I'm going to speak that I'm confident about is Ty Felton from Maryland. So I don't know if you guys saw before. I'm out here in Maryland. That's my home squad. I'm an alumni there, so I watch it every single week. He's underrated, man. And Maryland produces wide receivers, by the way. DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Ja'Cory Bennett. There's a bunch of people in the NFL that are coming from Maryland. And he's legit, man. He's 21 years old, 6'2", 181 pounds. He led the Big Ten in receptions and receiving yards. People don't really know about that. People kind of think of the Ohio State wide receivers and Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka. They're out there as well. But, I like him. I think he's definitely intriguing. I don't think he'll be a first-round pick. You might see him in the second or third round or something like that. But, guys, he had 96 receptions, 1,124 yards, 9 touchdowns. He might not be in the best division. Guys, he's in the Big Ten. And even against Oregon, he basically had 7 catches for 72 yards. I think it's a solid player, man. He had 6 games of 9 catches or more, 6 out of 12. And, he has more receiving yards than Penn State's tight end, Tyler Warren, Tez Johnson from Oregon, Emeka Egbuka, and Jeremiah Smith, like I mentioned before. And he's second in the Big Ten with 9 touchdowns. So I know that Maryland's offense kind of survived because of him.
All right, I got a show.
No, it's all there you go, my bad. So I started in the background. But Maryland's offense was staying afloat because of him. We took a big step back because I don't know if you guys even watched the Big Ten, but they used to have Tua Tagovailoa. Tua's little brother was our quarterback last year in Maryland. He left, and Billy Edwards was the quarterback there. So he kept us afloat. He was pretty solid. I got my eye on him. Got my all 3 of us actually applied to go to the Senior Bowl. So I'd love to interview this guy and talk to him. But I have my eye on Ty Felton and Kyron Lacey from LSU when I go down there. So that's my pick.
I like him. He's a very, very good route runner. That's I've seen a little bit of film on him, not too much, and I did say he kind of reminds me of Jahan Dotson, but it's really just like his footwork. I don't know why. Like the way that they run just reminds me a lot of each other. But yeah, he's a good player. I've seen people as high as like top 50 players in this draft. Like I've seen people putting him that high. I got him like there's a lot of good wide receivers in this draft. There is, and I feel like that's becoming a kind of a theme of these drafts. But he's a really good player. He really is. Like you said, he's got the size, he's got the athleticism, he's got a little bit of everything. I would have to keep on looking into him, and like you said, he is going to be at the Senior Bowl, so
absolutely
watch him.
I think there's definitely Luther Burden, McMillan from Arizona. There's a bunch of other wide receivers that are out there ahead of him. But as of right now, sitting here in December, not in mock draft mode, like the Cowboys, is kind of just bad in my time. The fucked up players that I know. He's a player that I know, and he's actually pretty solid. So, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So, he's a good player. He's just someone I know, so I'm feeling confident about it.
George is so petty. I love it. All right, so I mean, look. We'll see how it all shakes out. I think that it's luckily when you get to the Senior Bowl, I feel like you get so many one-on-ones. You really get to see these cornerbacks, these wide receivers, offensive, defensive line. You really get to see them at play. You kind of lose what running backs do because you don't really get to see them do too much. Yeah. And sometimes linebackers get lost in the shuffle too outside of their one-on-ones. So we'll definitely get to see him go out there and ball out. But yeah, I like that. James, do you want to do your player next? Do you want me to do mine next?
I can do mine. Say the best for last. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You want yours now?
Okay. Oh yeah, I can do mine now.
All
right. So can y'all can hear me? Everything good?
Yep.
Okay. Jalen Royals, Utah State. I went through the roster. I basically told y'all. Receiver is a huge need. I say Cowboys draft 2 receivers in this draft, right? Go first round, get a high can't miss guy, and then we got a lot of compensatory picks. Maybe get some guy, maybe day 2, day 3. I think Jalen Royals right here with Utah State, he falls in that category. I don't think he's like a day 1 guy. I think he's a day 2. It's more like a third rounder. 6 foot. He's about 203, 205 pounds. 4.3, they got him at 4.3 speed. When you watch him, he has that, kind of like when you see a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, when they catch the ball, they just jump on you so quick. They're not only fast, but they're quick, and their acceleration is so fast you can't get up on them. He doesn't have that type of acceleration. He has more build-up speed. So once he gets it and he really starts getting the motion and gets straight line, you're not catching him. That's when you'll see his 4.3 speed really coming out. You catch him on quick slants. They come back with the comeback routes. They hit him on a lot of 9s. So they really like getting him in space because when he gets in space, he's really good with the yards after catch. He's not a physical type receiver. He's definitely got to work with his hands as far as you see when cornerbacks are putting their hands on him, they can easily redirect him. So I think that's something you can work on. But he's an athlete. He's explosive. When he gets on his hands, he can make a lot of things happen after the catch. And I think that's what's really going to be his kind of thing. Like I said, you can really see his 4.3 speed once he gets in the open field and really puts his head down. Then you can really see his athletic ability. So he's a guy that I would love to see as a day 2. Dallas Cowboys already have a guy in Jalen Tolbert, who they got in the 3rd round a few years ago from South Alabama. I think he can fall in that category, but for what I'm seeing, he could be better than that. Because I feel like his speed is better. And I just feel like I don't know what Jalen Tolbert is, and we just need to keep on replenishing that receiver room. And I think this is a guy the Cowboys need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of talent at this draft bowl. That's 2 wide receivers that have top 50 grades right there. Jalen Royals, not somebody that honestly I've looked at too much, but I looked him up once you told me you were going to talk about him. And one thing that stuck out to me was 7 touchdowns of over 50 yards in his college career, which is pretty impressive.
Can I throw a question at the y'all real quick, just for fun? So there's a hot topic we were talking about in Washington, right? Obviously, James is similar to me, right? Similar to us. We're together. Basically, we need another wide receiver here in DC to match up with our number 1, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, right? I was talking to my group chat. Who would you guys rather have, right? Would you rather trade away a first-round pick and get Garrett Wilson to have on your team? Or would you rather keep your first-round pick and have T. Higgins on your team and sign him to a big contract? Keep in mind, T. Higgins is injury-prone a little bit.
And you have to sign him to a
contract. You have to sign up both to a long. Like, they're going to get paid the same amount of money. So it's basically Garrett Wilson, and you trade away a first-round pick, or T. Higgins is simply the money.
I would say T. Higgins.
Yeah.
You get to use that.
That's tough. I'm thinking like that first round pick. I would probably give it. If we're like 14th or 15th, and we could give it up for like a Garrett Wilson. Like I said, he's still on his rookie deal, so I don't know what he would command in the open market. He has been good, but he hasn't been great. So maybe he doesn't get that big money. And I think that's what could kind of maybe shoo me that way, because T. Higgins gonna cost a lot of money, because he's going to be in demand. So he's going to command a lot of money, where I don't think Garrett Wilson will command as much money. And I could slide that first round pick because Garrett Wilson is hella young. I think he's only like 24, 25. So, and him pairing with CeeDee Lamb, that'd be sick. I know, but like you said, Higgins is a little bit injury prone. And I'm sorry, I have bias with Ohio State receivers. I'm out here in Ohio. I religiously see Ohio State and watch them. Yeah. And I just think Ohio State receivers are better.
Garrett Wilson was a dog. Coming out of the draft, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, Jameson Williams. There was another wide receiver that was really good that class. I forget, but like coming out, my favorite was Garrett Wilson. I liked him a lot. I thought he was explosive. Like I think Chris Olave was pretty comparable. Garrett Wilson was more explosive. People love Drake London for that big catch radius, but I don't know. I just thought Garrett Wilson was more explosive. So it's interesting.
Garrett Wilson got kind of affected by the Aaron Rodgers effect, because I feel like once Aaron Rodgers got out there, he ain't look happy at all. Like he did not. I saw the little beef him and Ryan. What's his name? Ryan, old safety.
Ryan Clark.
Yeah, Ryan Clark. Him and Ryan Clark going back and forth now.
That was good.
I like Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark delivered that. Like, I gave him probably. There's a little soft spot for me. He played for Washington. I like Ryan Clark a lot, but like seeing him grow as a podcaster, he was angry, but he delivered that message clean, crisp, professionally. He was on point. 4 minutes straight. It was good. Very good.
Banks said Amon-Ra St. Brown. Was he in that draft class too?
I think he was, but he was later on. He was.
That was in my mind, but I was like, "There's no way him and Jameson Williams was in that draft class."
Yeah. So Jameson Williams, like he was supposed to be like the most explosive wide receiver in the draft class. Towards ACL coming off the national championship game, and he was out. And plus, he had the PED suspension and all that kind of stuff. He was gone for a couple of years, but he's just now starting to turn it around.
Yes. So let me ask y'all, because I got asked this before, and before I get into my player. Who should the Eagles fear in the playoffs? Because I'm not afraid of the Lions. I'm not afraid of really any NFC team. Like what? I said this, and I'm not saying this just because you're here, George. I said this the other day. Only team that I'm kind of not afraid of, but like don't really want to see in the playoffs again is Washington. Because if we play them
3 times
and we beat them, that's it. Beating any team in the NFL 3 times is tough. So it's like you don't really want to deal with that again. I mean, I have confidence we can beat you again, but will we? You know what I'm saying? Then it becomes a little bit more.
I'll tell you. I think the Lions. I think before David Montgomery went down, I thought the Lions were the best team in the NFL. Like straight up, I love David Montgomery. I think he's a very underrated running back. People are like, he's like 30 years old. People are kind of chalking him off for not being a power back. But Jahmyr Gibbs is more talented. But David Montgomery is the grit that Detroit Lions always talk about. He pounded that ball and he would control the clock. So I really like to watch him play. So him being gone opens the door for you. You guys are the hottest team in the NFL right now. I wouldn't count out the Vikings. I wouldn't count out the Packers. You never know about them. So I think it's any given Sunday. And the Bucks, you know about the Bucks from last year. The Bucks basically they're so unpredictable. Baker Mayfield, he can go nuclear, man. He can go for 4 interceptions or 4 touchdown passes. You have no idea with him. So you never know. It's any given Sunday.
I don't see it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like Philly. I don't like it that this is happening again. That they could go to a Super Bowl is pissing me off actually. But when I see this, I don't feel like that Tampa Bay. I felt like we knew Tampa Bay was gonna beat them last year. If they were to play Tampa Bay in the playoffs, I think they would absolutely blow Tampa Bay out. I'm just speaking real here. We're talking about football. They will blow Tampa out. In my opinion. I'm sorry. I don't trust no Sam Darnold with the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold will choke it. I definitely believe he will. Um, Packers, they're hot and cold. It really depends on how Jordan Love plays. If he plays out of his mind, then I can see the Packers upsetting. But Packers are too up and down. I just don't feel like they have what it takes this year to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's Lions or Eagles. And right now, I don't think even with David Montgomery, that's a key. But losing Hutchinson is really going to show in the playoffs because that was a big loss for them. And that really hurts the defense. I know they picked up your boys, the Darius, but he ain't Hutchinson and that energy that he brings. So I think that's huge. And also, as much as we love Dan Campbell, that gambling could be the death of him. It's starting to catch up with him now, and he's getting too. I think I'm not saying he's listening to the press. Dan Campbell, go for a fourth down, brave and bold, 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 bold. And now you know how it is when you start hearing the media keep pumping you up, pumping you up. Now you make ill decisions just because this persona they gave you. Now you feel you got to live up to it. Sometimes that does happen. They feel like you got to live up to it. So Dan Campbell need to calm down a little bit and be smart what he's doing and not being over aggressive because I feel like he was over aggressive in that Buffalo game. And I feel like it cost the team. And if he does that against the Eagles, it could really cost them going to a championship. So be cool and be calm. And I think it's going to come down to some Dan Campbell making the right plays and not being over aggressive.
Yeah, I was just about to say what Dank Bird said, that they just lost to Lee McNeil too. Their defense is just decimated. Like I have a newfound respect for Jared Goff. Like he's a good quarterback. I didn't think he was that good coming into Detroit, but he is a very good quarterback. They have a very good offense. I can't take that away from them. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not, as an Eagles fan, I'm not afraid of anybody's good offense. I'm more afraid of a good defense right now. Like I have more faith in my defense than I do in my offense. Not saying that my offense is bad or they're gonna choke or whatever. I just think our offense is stoppable more so than our defense. I think our defense, they are who they are. Yeah, it's gonna be hard pressed for me to feel like a team's gonna come in and score 35 on us and just blow us out. But that's where I stand right now. But it's nice to know y'all think we're gonna win the Super Bowl too. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. So my guy
downstairs. Wait, what that?
My guy's upstairs. No. But my guy is gonna be Landon
I'm going
Jackson.
to
My guy is Landon Jackson. Man. I'm not gonna lie. This dude, he came up like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He was like viral for like a good week or two. And ever since then, I was like, let me follow this kid. Because he honestly looks like a created player. He's 6'7", 280 pounds. He's got long arms. He's just like, honestly, he's a creative player. Like if you go on college football, you go on Madden and you create a guy, you're going to probably make him huge, like as tall as this guy, as tall as you can, at longest arm span you can make. And that's what this guy is. Now, I think that he's going to be one of those dudes. I like him. I do. But I think he's going to be one of those dudes that get way overhyped because of his measurements, because of some stuff he's going to probably do in one-on-one. He is a very good player. Don't get me wrong. He is a very good run stopper, especially.
Is he edge or linebacker? I missed that part.
Upside. Say again?
Is he edge or linebacker? I missed that
He's
part.
an edge.
Okay.
He's a defensive end. So he's got pass rush upside. He's a decent pass rusher. He uses his hands pretty well. Not the strongest, and most of it, I think that he has strength. But I think his problem is that he's so tall that he already starts at a disadvantage. Yeah, so he plays. Yeah, his pad level, is way too high on almost every single play. So that's something he's definitely going to have to figure out at the next level. But he's played all over that defensive line. I don't think he's somebody. I do think that he'll fit into a 3-4, something like what the Eagles do, but I don't think he's somebody you get his hands out of the dirt. Kind of like what Eagles are seeing with Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff really didn't give you much when he was standing up. When you put his hands in the dirt, it's just a little bit different. I think that's something that you can do at Landon, and I think he'll be very good. He's had over 50 pressures the past 2 years, over 12 sacks the past 2 years, combined, obviously. over 20 tackles for loss over the past 2 years combined. So, I mean, he's a good player. He is a really good player. He is a project, though, but I think he's going to get drafted pretty high because, again, I just think that people are going to see the size. They're going to see probably one-on-ones. Well, let me get that. They're going to see one-on-ones. They're going to see all that, and they're going to, they're going to want to work with this kid. This is one of those guys. I think he's like a Howie Roseman special, to be honest with you. If you can get him at 32, or if you can get him, early in the second round, maybe middle of the second round, you probably feel really confident in what you get because he is a good player and he has that size that you look for. You know what I'm saying? He's just not athletic. There's just a lot of things that you definitely have to there's concessions, right? He's got the size, he's got the length, not going to be the quickest guy off the snap, not the greatest of bends. But I do like him. I know I say a lot of bad things about him, but as far as run stopper, he's always in the right gap. Not the most consistent of tacklers. You want to see that get better. But I'm going to be watching him like a hawk when it comes to the Senior Bowl, just because if he can prove, hey, I can tackle consistently, I can get my pad level lower, I can, do some of these things that I'm talking about, he's going to probably just fly up boards. But if he looks boxy, if he looks like he's not, as fluid as you kind of want him to be, he might drop, kind of like a T'Vondre Sweat. T'Vondre Sweat was really high on people's boards right before the Senior Bowl. Then he kind of dropped a little bit. He didn't do terrible at the Senior Bowl, but he looked a little stiff, So another guy, I think Jordan Morgan was another guy that kind of fell a little bit, but he kind of got picked a little bit higher than he was supposed to. But either way, I like Landon Jackson. I think he's somebody like a day 2, second round, mid-second round type pick. But I'm excited to see him play because, like I said, you don't see many guys his size. I mean, 6'7" is ridiculous.
Absolutely. Is that the biggest need for the Eagles, in your opinion? Edge rusher?
It's tough to say, to be honest with you. It does depend on what they do. I think that it's probably if you re-sign Zach Bond and you're continuing with what you got right there in the first round, I think you're looking at either defensive line, offensive line, or maybe tight end, maybe, depending on how you feel about Dallas Goedert moving forward. So I do think that it's a need. You can make arguments for those other two positions, though. I think you could make an argument for tight end. You could make an argument for offensive line, like a tackle. But I think that there's so many good edge rushers in this draft. You might as well go ahead and get you one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Especially the way we play, he makes sense because he's not a guy that you're going to in the same mold of Nolan Smith, where we didn't ask Nolan Smith to go out there and realistically be a first round pick. We were just go out there, learn the defense, get better with time. And now Nolan Smith is playing really well. So I could see them doing something like that with him and being like, listen, take this year, you're going to get 20% of the snaps, 15% of the snaps, slowly just build your role and go from there. We are a very young team. So I could see us continue to kind of, just build on your building blocks. I said it yesterday. We are in a position where you don't necessarily need anything. You have 2 cornerbacks that you look at and say they're probably going to be the future in Cooper and Quinyon. Don't really need anything linebacker-wise if you re-sign your guys. So, and offensively, you don't really need anything. Everything's kind of a extra. So, to me, if you have an extra pick, you might as well build in the trenches, and that's where the most of your money is going to go anyways. So, yeah, I think that it makes sense. I'll probably talk about offensive line next. For me, it goes edge, offensive line, and then probably tight end. I think that we need a tight end.
Do you have a big free agents for the Eagles this year? See people that you're worried about re-signing?
Zach Bond, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. I think that's the biggest ones. If I'm not, I might be missing someone. Somebody can let me know in the comments if I am. I think those are the 3 key ones. Offensively, we're pretty much set. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We probably want to look at some depth. I know some of our depth guys might be leaving, but I mean, the Eagles are in a crazy position right now. I ain't gonna lie. We're in a really good spot. So, yeah, I hope that we could keep what we got, but we might lose Milton. Milton Williams has been playing really, really well, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this is going to be a good draft for me because I'm not stressing at all. Last year, it was we need to get one of these guys. We need to get Quinn Young. We need to get, a cornerback because we have no cornerbacks. But this year it's like, hey, just go out there and pick whoever you think is the best player. And I'll say this: if we got Landon Jackson right now, if the draft happened right now, and we got Landon Jackson at 32, I wouldn't be mad. I think that would be a good pick.
All right.
And I say 32 because obviously that's where we'll be drafting, right? So, so all right, we got the Commanders and the Eagles this Sunday. Who do the Cowboys have this Sunday?
Buccaneers.
Oh, is that a home game or away game? It's home.
I think it's home.
Oh, I was about to say I might have to go to that game. I might go to that game.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah, we got some bucks. Like I said, these next 3 games. Go ahead.
You guys aren't technically out of the playoff hunt, technically, right? Would you even want to go to the playoffs? Like, what is the goal of the Cowboys right now? Is it just to kind of get the season over? Like, what is the thought process?
I don't care about no playoffs this year. You know what I'm saying? This was lame duck year for me. So this year was not going to be a year for me. So if they go, that's good. The team is fighting, and you can see that there's still talent even with all the injuries that they had. So I just want to see how they play these backups play against these teams. The Bucks need a win. They're still looking for some playoff positioning, so it's going to be an important game to them. So they're going to come hard against us, and I want to see how those linemen, especially particularly those offensive line that have played really good the last 4 weeks. Let's see how they play against some good vaunted defenses, some good defenses here. Well, at least I think Bucks is pretty formidable, and Eagles, I think y'all got a formidable D. Redskins, I keep on saying Redskins. Commanders, they have talent over there. I don't know how good the defense is. So, like I said, this is just a parameter to see what these backup guys are doing going into next year, to see Zach Martin may not be back. DeMarcus Lawrence may not be back. So we need to see the Marshawn Nealon, right? We need to see the Cooper Beebe. We need to see Tyler Guyton. We need to see Brock Hoffman, the TJ Bass, these undrafted guys that have been playing well against okay teams. Let's see how they play against these teams, because that'll be a better parameter to see who you need to draft. And some of those guys are restricted too. So there'll be a tender. KaVontae Turpin, I think he is restricted, and he obviously looked pretty good this year, Turpin. So now you might have to put an offer to him. So a lot of things are going to happen. So these 3, like I said, these 3 big games are what's going to be for the staff and players, for real.
Yeah, because y'all ain't doing nothing in the playoffs if y'all do make it. Now,
no, we ain't doing that.
Now
y'all ain't gonna win a chip though. Y'all might go to the Super Bowl.
You're not gonna win the Super Bowl. Until the Super Bowl.
You're not gonna win the Super Bowl. I definitely feel like you can get to the Super Bowl again, but I don't feel like you're gonna win it.
Who do you think will win the Super Bowl? You think the Bills or the Chiefs?
I have this funny feeling that the Bills might win it this year. They've been on that losing streak for so long. Super Bowls, the playoffs. It just feels like they might do it. I don't feel like the Chiefs are doing the 3-peat. I do not see them doing that 3-peat. I said at the beginning of the year they weren't 3-peating.
The Chiefs are too flawed. The one good thing about it, though, is I think Hollywood Brown's coming back for them. So Hollywood Brown's coming back for them. Odell Beckham's kind of floating around out there, too. I don't want to pick him up and have like a depth. How do y'all feel about Odell Beckham, by the way? You talk about it.
Boo, don't mention him.
I'm in a group chat, and they're like, dude, we need to get Odell Beckham. Like, we have to get him on Washington. Like, dude,
who said that?
What? People in my group chat.
From your team? For Washington? Oh, hell no.
I think he's washed, man. I don't think he's there.
That would be he is washed. That'd be a so Dallas thing. I've already said as soon as he got released that'd be a Dallas thing to pick him up now when he cheap and he don't mean nothing. That's when Dallas will grab him. When Odell Beckham don't mean nothing, they'll go get him and they'll be like, oh, guess what? We got Odell Beckham Jr. now. He ain't Odell. Dallas, that's what I said. Dallas is a day late, dollar short organization. They get these guys when they're downtrending or they're not those guys and they're just a guy, they're a journeyman. And then they trumpet those signings like, look who we just got. Bro, that dude ain't effective no more. And that's been the problem. You get guys past the prime. You need to be able to get a few real dogs in free agency. It's just the truth. It's been seen time and time again. Everybody knows you build your team through the draft. we all know that. You have to. The draft is your lifeline. Signing your
I
own, the
agree.
draft. But you have to get a few free agents year in and year out that can get you over the hump. You just have to.
The key to winning in the league is to go through free agency and plug your holes. So by the time, because free agency is before the draft, so basically by the time you get to the draft, you aren't handicapped by it or restricted by it. You can pick whatever pick you want, get the best players available. That's how you have long-term success. So I agree with you on that.
Did you read the Howie Roseman book? Because he wrote that.
I didn't see that book. I think I burnt that book. I didn't see that book.
I'll send it to you for Christmas.
All right, I think I appreciate that.
But
that's doorstop. Yeah, thank you.
With OBJ, I'm not going to sit here. I've spent so many years bashing that man. I'll say this much. I think that if you're going to bring OBJ on, you better have a very, very strong nucleus on your team. You don't bring him to. I think for Washington, it would be a very, very bad idea just because you're young. Not saying that you don't have a good nucleus, but you don't have that inset leadership yet, in my opinion, to bring on and the Eagles. I don't think it would make sense either because you already have too many mouths to feed, too many people talking to media already. So I just don't think
he's done. He's done.
It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
And here's the thing. I mean, I think his antics when you say you got to have a strong locker room, I feel like that's faded now. I feel like ain't nobody even paying attention to his antics no more because nobody cares anymore. Yeah, your time is done. Like there's a certain time in the NFL that there is, and his time is past. So whatever he can act up and act a fool, ain't nobody paying attention to no more because it's over.
Well, you know what time it actually is. It's the time for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, baby. So last thing we'll say real quick, we'll give me I'll give you mine and you give me yours. The keys to this game. I'll make it short, simple, and sweet. Go out there, run the ball down their throat, and then once you think that they're done with the run it a little bit more. We proved that we could throw the ball last week. I'm good on that. We don't got to do that no more. There's no need to prove anything to nobody. Go out there and get what needs to get done offensively, defensively. Keep Jaden moving. Keep Jaden dancing all day. I want Jaden dancing all day. If he's gonna beat us, it's gonna be with his legs, and that's it. He's not gonna beat us with his arm. He's not gonna have 10 minutes in the backfield to figure out where Terry McLaurin's running. No. Yeah, make him run around, be uncomfortable all day, make him get that ball out of his hand way quicker than he wants to. And you know what I'm saying? Avoid any falling parts of the stadium. That's the only other thing I really can say.
Stetter ain't here no more. And Dank in the chat, I appreciate you. I know he's in the CFL. I love Talia was awesome. I enjoyed watching him in Maryland. Going back to our game, Joe, I think we see it the same way. Stop the run. I think the last game, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they didn't have a big game against us. Now we're adding Marshawn Lattimore to the team. I think we're excited. He had 0 targets last week. The Saints were scared to throw against him. We'll see how he affects the Eagles. We'll see if he checks AJ Brown. My boy Mikey Sanders still is having a great year as a cornerback as well. I like him. He might check Devontae Smith. We'll see what happens there. For us, I want to shut down Saquon Barkley because he's your engine. If we can shut him down and force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball around, I'll play with that. If there is one chink in the armor, can he dice up a defense? Can he make it happen? I sort of disagree with James. James is like, our defense is trash. Our defense isn't very strong. I like our defense. Frankie Luvu is going to probably be a Pro Bowl player next year. This winter. I think Bobby Wagner's a pretty good corner. I think our defense is actually pretty solid. I think it's a pretty competitive game. So for me, it's like shut down the run. Let Jaden cook. I think the last game, it was like, he was playing with a broken rib. They just wanted to get rid of the ball quickly. They wouldn't let him run. He had 66 yards running this last week. He had 70 yards the week before. Let him cook. Let him be Lamar. Let him just create. That's what I wanted to happen. And can we block your defensive line? Because once Jalen Carter blew up things last week, we got to stop that from happening, right? So protect Jaden. Let him cook. Stop Saquon Barkley. I have the Commanders winning 21-20 this week. Let's go. Let's give it a shot, baby. Let's give it a shot.
You got that?
Let's go.
I'm gonna do my. Can I do? I'm gonna do my impression of James next week after this tail whipping we gonna give you. I thought your defense was good. I thought you liked your defense.
What I tell you about Dan Quinn? Every week.
Oh man, it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming.
I can't wait. So we all get to sit and watch the Eagles go out there and be great. I get to watch y'all fight like cats and dogs, which is honestly surprise, like just best thing of the year. I ain't gonna lie. This between y'all two fighting, I love it. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. But shout out to everybody in the
Sweeps are
chat,
coming.
man.
Sweeps are coming. I'm trying to tell you, George, you better win these games because I'm trying to tell you, dog. If you come down to the last game of the year and you got to make the playoffs coming into Dallas, you're gonna lose, and I'm gonna never let it. I'm not
I
gonna
would
let it
love
go for a
that.
while.
That would be devastating, but nothing would make me happier is we rest our starters against the Cowboys because put
Yeah,
Marcus
you
Mariota
better.
out there because, like, dude, Cowboys are such trash. We're not even worried. We don't want to hurt our players against the
Okay,
Cowboys in Week 18. Now
okay.
and Cooper
We
Rush
such
is sweating,
trash.
trying to make a job. That
Yeah,
would make me so happy.
I love
CeeDee
how
Lamb
you keep on
hustling,
saying
trying to get
we.
some
I love
sacks.
how you keep on
Yeah.
saying we trash, but we came in there and dropped 34 on y'all with Cooper Rush.
If our kicker did not get hurt that game, we would have gone
If
overtime
was a
that
fifth,
game.
if
Yeah.
was a fifth, you say a lot of ifs.
I'll
If
be
I
was a
honest
can't
with
fifth.
believe
you.
y'all
That
lost
was
to
the
the
worst. That was
Cowboys.
the worst game of the year. That was my least favorite game of the year. I think it was like, wasn't it like 19-13 in the fourth quarter? All of a sudden, like 50 points in the last 5 minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Ugly ass
it,
game.
yeah,
Y'all
it was
almost lost
crazy.
to the Saints too. I'm telling you,
Y'all
he might be
struggling.
right. James might be right.
I'm right. I'm right about Dan Quinn.
I
I'm
know he's
trying to
mad
tell you.
about it, but I know he might be right. He might be right. We're
We
gonna
were
I'm
see.
right about Dan Quinn.
we were too cocky with this Saints. We were up 17-0, chilling. They basically benched what's his name, Jake Hayner, put Spencer Rattler in.
Mhm.
We weren't prepared for Spencer Rattler. He started dicing it up. It was crazy. But now, whatever. We'll see what happens. I'm not worried about that.
Mhm.
A win's a win. I'd rather lose than
George,
lose.
hey,
You know what I'm saying?
George don't want to say it on the inside. He don't. He have questions about Quinn, but he can't say it out loud.
I'm not worried about Quinn for real. I'm not worried about Quinn.
I
I'm not worried
can't
about
wait
Quinn.
till this offseason. I really can't. Truly, all jokes aside, I really can't wait till the Senior Bowl because I know all three of us together in one room in one area is going to be an absolute disaster in a good way. So I'm so excited. But yeah, so we're going to keep this going every week. I think this is nice to kind of break up the show. Give three players. This week we gave you guys three really good players. To be honest with you, three guys. First two rounds are most likely going to be getting drafted, and realistically, I think good fits for each individual team. I could see our teams looking at the guys we talked about. So, if you guys have anybody that you want us to talk about, whether it be Senior Bowl, whether it be whatever, I like to get those DMs, to be honest, because I look up players that you guys tell me if I've never seen them, and I love love seeing new people. So,
for sure.
DM any of us. Let us know what you want us to look up. Let us know who you want us to look up. And we'll do it. 266 people. You've been above 200 people in the chat for most of this show. So thank you guys so much. I can't thank you guys enough. I know we took a little bit of time off, but everybody needs it. I had to go and get engaged. You know what I'm saying? I had to go grow up a little bit. But no, yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all want to say anything to these beautiful people before we get up out of here?
Just want to say congratulations on your engagement, bro. You definitely, your wife's been holding you down. Good people, good woman right there. Happy for both of y'all. I'll be rooting against you on Sunday. Go Warriors.
Go Birds.
There you go.
You heard her?
I heard her. Yeah. 100%. That's a good woman right
like
there.
I said,
My wife goes with me to the games every week,
great
so
woman.
respect to them, right? Good women, good wife. It's awesome. Yeah.
Great wife. I got to meet her at the Senior Bowl, so that was very awesome. So I actually know about this, so I feel like I know this. So it's a good thing. It's a great thing. From everything since I've known you, it seems like I've seen it like grow and blossom. So it's a good thing. But I'm gonna just say this once again, George. Once again,
it's what. Why is it coming back to me? Talk to Joe. Yeah, I thought the Cowboys and the Eagles hated each other. All right,
I'm gonna say one thing to Joe because we got them Eagles next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna say one thing to Joe because I love hearing what Michael Parsons said, and I know why he said it. Where he said, "Damn them Eagles, damn y'all, f y'all. I don't like y'all. I don't give a hell about y'all. So stay away." And I know why that's coming out now. I just ain't gonna say it on live air, but I know why he hates them Eagles now because he said something at the end when he said they talk too much on social media, and I know what that is, but I'm gonna leave it alone. You get what I'm saying? So, but for you, George, you better win. Because if it's a must-win week 18 or whatever they call it, oh boy, it's gonna be a bad day. We're gonna beat y'all in Dallas, and I'm not gonna let it go all summer.
I'm looking forward to the celebration pod next week. Commanders win. I can come out on the intro. It'll be awesome. I'm ready for it. It's all good.
We'll see. We're going to see. You praying.
Oh, we needed this. We needed this. Oh, man. All right. We appreciate y'all, man. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe wherever you guys are. And we will see y'all next week. Peace.
We're brothers, we're happy and we're